Hello everyone. I'll be showing what layout we're going to be coding in Flutter, and I'm going to be sprinkling it with a little bit of functionality. So you can see how UI changes are reflected as you interact with your layouts, okay? Before doing that, of course, let me introduce myself to you guys. So my name is Sakina Abbas. I'm co-founder and CEO of ReacTree. We are a software house and we specialize in web and mobile applications. Here, I'm currently leading the DevOps and the Flutter development team, and I've also recently joined Flutter Karachi, Pakistan, as a senior Flutter developer. So that's really interesting. Gave an interesting session about last weekend about the perspective of Android development towards a Flutter development. So that was nice. And so without further ado, let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, so I'm not going to be coding some of those boring UIs, okay? Let's do something interesting. Something that I have fun coding, something that you have fun watching. So I found this really nice looking layout for a music app. So we'll be coding this specific screen only. Okay, not the entire application, just the specific screen. It's taken from this guy Masoom Pervez, just to give him the credits for doing this wonderful work. And the work is obviously published on Dribble, so you can check it out. So before we delve into coding straight away, let's first look at this layout and let's try to analyze and basically decompose it into the different widgets that we will be essentially using in order to structure our application. Okay, so right away, there are a couple of things. There are like 3 to 4 main things that come right away to my mind when I look at the screen. First of all, we have this nice looking background color. Then we have this app bar that has 2 buttons, 2 icons, and a title. The app bar looks transparent, so there's that. We have a circular widget showing the album art inside it, and it appears to have some sort of elevation too, I guess. Then we have the title of the song, I guess, and then the artist name. Then we have this nice looking container at the bottom that's essentially fixed at the bottom of the screen. It has some of the main controls such as play button, next button, go back button, all that stuff. We have the times, of course, the timestamps, and then we have a slider, a curved looking slider. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is that I won't exactly be replicating this entire thing because, as you can see, this volume panel, it's a bit redundant because when you're listening to music on your mobile and you want to control your volumes, so you just control the volume from the volume buttons of your phone, right? So we're not going to be incorporating this section, but what we're going to do is that we're going to tweak this thing a little bit and try to incorporate it inside it. So let's see how it goes. Okay. All right. In order to save time, I have already created this basic Flutter project that you guys can see right now. So let's get right into it. Sorry for the voice, guys. I'm a little sick. All right, let's create a new Dart file by the name of details. Adding the import for material. Now, the important thing to notice is that since this screen is such that it demands user interaction, which means that upon user interaction, you will be essentially changing the layout or some of the widgets or basically the state of the widgets in your screen. What we need here is a stateful wizard. So I'm just going to type the shortcut here, give it a nice name, now playing screen. Okay, let's return a scaffold here. apartheid text. Hello. Okay, let's start with something basic first. Okay. Adding the import for the details file. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, we have done the first step, which is creating the screen. Okay, now let's create another file by the name of constants, where we will be storing all the colors, textiles. It really makes the code really modular, so I definitely recommend this approach. I have already, in order to save time, already previously tested out the different colors, different textiles that we'll be using. So yeah. Okay, why is this? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, let's give it first a background color. So, okay, gotta import the constants file as well. All right. Now, for the background color, we'll be using that deep dark purplish color that we just copied over here. Just to give you guys an overview, what I have here is different colors that I'll be using. The color of the button that I need to use, the different sizes of the different sizes that I need to keep for each of the buttons, different textiles in which I'll be styling my time text, the timestamps text, the album title text, and the song title text and the song text. So these are just the textiles. And here I have URLs of some of the images that I'll be using via the network image. Okay. So let's give this thing a purple color. Huh. Where is this arrow? Oh. What did I miss here? Okay, let's just comment this out for the time being, and we'll check it out later. Okay. So we're done with the background part. Now we need to add the leading icon. I'm gonna use the icon button here. Give it an icon. Icons dot arrow drop down circle. We're not implementing any functionality for this because obviously the essence of our session here is that you guys understand how quickly and conveniently we can code the most complex of the UIs in Flutter. Okay, so we have that. For the title here, we have My Music as the app bar title. So music, and notice that it's centered aligned. So we're gonna use the center title parameter and set it to true. Okay, so far so good. the next thing that we want to use is the trailing part. Okay, so for that, we're going to use the actions parameter, which is essentially going to take an icon button again. Okay, so far so good. Now what's the next step? Now you realize that here it's transparent, okay? So it's basically reflecting the background color that we have underneath, but here it's using the default Flutter theme, okay? So let's edit that using the background color property and setting color to transparent. Okay, now we have another problem. The problem is that even though we've given it a transparent feel, it's still not becoming transparent, okay? So how do we go about that? Let's see how we can fix this. Okay, so what we're gonna do is that let's use a stack to control that, okay? I'm gonna wrap this inside a stack. Convert this to children. Oh, damn it. In fact, let's just Google it. Okay. Transparent. Okay, now this full disclaimer here, you guys. The essence of this session is to show you that I'm not a robot, okay? There are certain things that obviously it'll slip my mind. So the best thing to do is to Google them. So that is how I'm showing you that even if you're a Flutter beginner, Flutter advanced, there are things that you'll always have to Google. So that's what we're doing here, okay? So here, this is the exact approach that we're following here. We're gonna be returning a scaffold, and we are gonna be using a stack, like I said, in place of the body parameter, okay? So let's wrap this thing up. Body stack. Okay. Okay, let's see how this goes. Aha, perfect. We have achieved our first milestone. Now, the second step is to code this part, which will be essentially inside a column. Okay, so if you try to break it down into concrete widget and the widget hierarchy that we'll be following here, so we're returning a scaffold with a background color. And all of this that you see here is a stack because we're overlaying it on the background color, okay, to give this effect. So what we've done so far is that we have wrapped our entire body inside a stack, and we have so far used an app bar. Now, in order to simplify things and the widget hierarchies a little, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to wrap my app bar inside a column so that it is easier for me to code all of this by putting it directly inside my column So I don't have to use the position widget for each and every widget that I will be using, because essentially what the position widget does is that it positions your widget on the specifics that you provided. So for instance, if I just, without changing any of the parameters of the position widget, if I just wrap this nice looking circular circular widget inside a position, it'll essentially be showing here at the top left corner. And we don't want that. We want this kind of look in hierarchy. And I also don't want to make my code really verbose, so I wouldn't be using position that much. That's why I'll just be directly putting it all inside the column view. So let's do that. Yeah, okay. So we have our app bar. The next thing we need is a circle avatar. Give it a radius of, I don't know, 80? Yes. Background image, network image, and let's use this Selenium one, okay? And of course, a size box in order to add some padding between the circular avatar and the app bar. Okay. And I give it a nice purple color so that when it's loading, it's not using the default blue color. Okay. Now, another thing that we have noticed is that what is this background thingy that's appearing here? I mean, we just fixed it, and why did it just suddenly appear? So let's debug that in a while, and there we go. It fixed due to the elevation property. Now, what is the elevation property? By default, the app bar widget provides some elevation, some default elevation, and what this does is that it adds the shadow to the app bar. So even if we have set its color to transparent, it was still showing that darkish color due to the elevation. Okay, so just adding this one line of code essentially fixed that, which is great. Now, the next thing that we need to do is, of course, add in the text widgets in order to display the album title and the song title, okay? Sorry, artist name and the song title. Okay, so let's give it the song name Gorgeous, because that is what we are replicating over here. And it's by Selenium. Sorry, guys. Again, this size box is just for padding, so it's really up to you whether you guys want to use a size box, whether you guys want to wrap it inside a padding widget. It's really all up to you. Okay, so let's get to these textiles, all right? Now we have the title textile and the artist style, so we're just going to be using that. Title style first. So we're just going to use the style property, and I think it was the style. Okay. Gonna comment that. Looks gorgeous itself. And then we are, of course, gonna give this the style as well, which is artist style, I believe. Yeah. Okay, there we have it. Now to the main part. This thing, Okay, now for some of you, this may have struck as pretty simple initially, and for some of you, this may have struck as really difficult initially. But let me tell you guys, while it did look intimidating at first, it was easy when you Google stuff, when you try out different experiments, and you just notice that, okay, things aren't as difficult as they seem, okay? Stack Overflow has the answers to everything. Now, in order to draw this nice looking custom shape, what we're going to be essentially using is a custom painter. Okay, so there are two approaches. You can either go with a custom clipper so that it clips the bottom part of your circle, or you could go with custom painter. While I was trying this initially, I had some issues with the custom clipper because even though it would clip the bottom half of the circle, it wouldn't exactly align it towards the end. And I don't know, there were multiple issues with that, okay? So what we're going to be doing here is that we are going to be using Stack Overflow, one of the answers from Stack Overflow, in order to replicate this nice looking circular effect. So, yeah, this one. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the thing that we need to use. Okay, we're giving this a diameter. We are sizing the widget, like what the width and what height should the widget have, and we are using different drawing properties, like what will be our offset, what will be our center, how much the height should be, how much the width should be, you know, all that pretty stuff. So that is pretty simple to use, and it is achieving this effect. So let's just go in and directly copy paste this. Whoops. Let's create a new file. My painter. Okay. A bunch of errors because we haven't imported the material.dart. And of course, we need to import math. So import math as math, because as you can see, we're using the alias here, so we need to declare that over here. And the other thing that we need to change over here is the colors. So for that, let's import our constants file to refer to the hot pink color that we're using. Okay, so far so good. All right. Now, in order to position this directly at the bottom, what we're going to be using is a position widget for this specific section, okay? So that it sticks right towards the end. Note, we're not going to be using it inside the column, otherwise you'll get a bunch of errors because it's used directly inside the children of a stack. So let's use positioned. Okay. Bottom 0, child, my arc. Errors again because we haven't imported the file yet. So let's do that. And of course, we need to change the diameter because we want it to fit the full width of the screen. Okay. So media query dot off context dot size dot width. Okay, looks good. Now let's see how it goes. Okay, so we do have a good news and a bad news. The good news is that we have this thing, but it's not essentially aligned towards the bottom as we had hoped that we would achieve this effect. Now, why is that? Let's check out the Flutter Inspector and see what's happening. So as you can see here, what this has done is that it's taking up this entire space. So what it has done is that while it did custom paint that semicircle, the height that it's taking is still, this all this extra space. So what we can do is that let's try to understand the code that we just copied and tweak it as per our use case. So as you can see here, the first thing that I see is the size thing, all right? Now what the size does is that you provide it a width and a height, and it provides those, those constraints in order to constrain your widget to those particular dimensions that you've provided. So as you can see here, the first parameter that takes us the width, and the second is the height. We're fine with width, we're not fine with the height. So what we're gonna do is divide it by 2, and let's see if that fixes our problem. Now, this did fix our problem, but as you can see, it's rendering this weird looking shape. So let's see what we can do about this. If I change my height over here, let's see what happens. Oh, so we are taking up the full width, but we're not taking up this much height, okay? What is happening? So let's see. If I increase this to 2.5, what will happen? Not good. If I do it 1.5, what will happen? Not good. If I do it 2, what will happen? And it vanishes. So, what can we do here? Let's try to play with this field maybe. Oops, sorry, multiplied by 2. Aha, perfect. So we have achieved this through trial and error. And this is a very natural thing to do. So even if you're copy pasting code from Stack Overflow or from any blog on Google that you found, and obviously the first good news is that you just copy paste the code and it runs right at the first attempt. So that's really nice. But even if it doesn't run as per your use case, it's always good to give that code some time, try to analyze a little what's happening where, even if you don't understand it, you see a bunch of values and a bunch of variables, try playing with them, try doing some trial and error, and you'll get there eventually. Okay, now the next thing that we want to do is that we need our buttons. Okay, we need our buttons set up in a row. So if you can see here, we have all these 3 buttons neatly set up in a row. So that's what we're gonna do. Now, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna wrap my arc inside a stack so that I can overlay all of my inner widgets on top of it, okay? Wrap with do column stack so we don't have to deal with the other things. Okay, use a positioned, yeah, because we need to position the widget over the stack. Okay, positioned row. Gonna use the commas for code formatting. Top 50, let's say. Yeah, left 20, right 20, just to center it. Children, right, okay. So we need an icon button. Oops, give it an icon parameter. Use the icon. Get the, okay, what is the, rewind, okay. Now, as you can see, this we have some highlights over here. this means that we're missing a mandatory parameter. Over here in case of icon button, that's usually the on tap or on press. So let's do that and just do a print. Rewind. And forward. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, this looks pretty ugly. Now, let's give these buttons a size and a color. Okay, so we're using the size 42 for the buttons. We're using the color 50 colors white 54. So let's do that. Size 42, color white 4. Okay, looks good. Copy pasting this here. Oh, sorry. All right, now I know that this is out of alignment right now. We're gonna be fixing that soon. But first, let's make our play button, okay? Now, as you can see here, the play button is a round icon button and it has a nice elevation. So instantly I Googled that how to create a circular button with an icon, and Stack Overflow, my usual help gateway. And we have this nice looking code that renders this, okay? So let's use this directly. Copy, paste, and zoom it here, add the commas. 10, 50. Fill color, we need to use hot pink. So hot pink color. And of course, we need to add an elevation. 20. Aha, looks perfect. And the color, of course, color, let's give it a color of white. Looks perfect. Now let's give these some spacing between the buttons. Okay. Give it a size box with I don't know, 10. Let's try with this. Looks kind of good. And of course, we need to center it so. All right. Another thing that we need to do is that while I did say that I won't be using this part, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be shifting this part inside it, because otherwise all of this space, it'll look really bad. Okay, so we need to fill up the space with something. So let's fill it up with this. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we will wrap this button row inside a column. So let's do that. And yeah, okay. Don't worry about this, guys. I'll be fixing it later. Where's my column? Here it is. Okay. Now the next thing that we need is a slider so that we can see what the values are over there. Let's give it an initial value of 0.1 maybe. On change. This takes a double. So double val. And yeah. Okay, let's give it an initial value too, which is by min. Min takes a double, so of course we're starting off at 0 and we are going up to, let's say, 100. Okay, we have our slider here. We need to obviously change the colors. So let's type color and we have the active color, and let's give that pink. No, white. Okay, so far so good. The other thing that we need to do is obviously add these timestamps, and we're going to do that inside a row. Okay, so add comma for pretty formatting. Get a size box for some padding, height 6 maybe. I think that should suffice. Row. Main axis alignment, we need main axis space between, because one part is placed in the beginning, the other part is placed at the end. So between will create a lot of space between them. So they're both positioned at the extreme sides of the screen. Okay. Get a children. Okay, let's give it text 0, 0, 0. -3, 6. Let's see how that looks. Okay, perfect. We got to reduce this a little bit so it's more towards the upper part. And of course, let's get a style. So here we have, right, the time style. Okay. Time style. Copy this, paste it here. Aha, looks pretty. Now, we are kind of running short on time, and I hope that I'd be able to even integrate the audio player and show you guys how we can do that, but let's see how we can do this. Okay, so if I click here, this is my row, and it's here. So as you can see, my row is placed perfectly fine, but the buttons here, they're left aligned. So with this, we have figured out that we need to fix its alignment issue. Let's try this. Main axis alignment, the center. And we have fixed this issue as well. Okay, so this is good. The other thing that we need to do is that I'm going to be quickly consuming the audio player and just use some of the main functions so that you can see that even if you interact with the layout, how the layout responds, all that stuff, we're going to be going through that very quickly. Okay, so this is a nice plugin that I found as its audio player. It's very stable. It supports both iOS and Android, and it allows you to play files from the network, from the assets, local, all that fancy stuff. Okay, so let's add the dependency to our pubspec.yaml. Packages.get, and of course, meanwhile we're doing that, let's add this song to our project. add a new directory, assets, add another directory. This is just up to you guys. I just like to keep my code modularized. Audios. And let's paste the song here. Give it the name song1.mp3. Do we have that? Yes, we do. As you can see, we have integrated our dependency for playing the audio. So let's delve into assets and assets, audios. That should pretty much do it. Okay, so let's consume it right away. Okay, in order to consume it, we need to import this file. So let's do that. Let's go to the documentation. It's pretty straightforward. You guys can explore it later on. I'm just going to be doing it very, very quickly because we're running short of time. But I also want to do that in order to give you guys the essence of, interaction and UIs. Okay, so let's set this up. Let's add in the init state method. Let's override it. Super.init state. And of course, we will be needing another variable by the name of is playing so that we can check what the state of the app is, okay? Whether the song is playing, whether it's not playing, what's happening, okay? Blue is playing, by default it's false. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a function that we need in order to play our file. So let's do that in init state. Now note, you gotta add in this auto start false, otherwise the file will just start playing as soon as the app opens. Okay, and we don't want that. So we have this. Gonna set up a bunch of listeners. As you can see, there is a listener by the name of is playing. Let's listen to this. And sorry for the lag, guys. My my Android Studio is eating up a lot of RAM. Okay, undefined name is playing. Bro, what? Oh, damn it. Okay. All right. The other thing that we want to do is play the app, play the song. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do here is that we're going to check whether the song is playing so that we can render the icons accordingly. If the song is playing, we want to show the pause icon. Otherwise, we want to show the play icon. Play. Okay. Gonna stop the application, do a full code restart because we've added because we've added an additional dependency, we've added a song, so it needs to, take all of that into the consideration and load up all the resources. While we're doing that, let's explore the documentation a little further and see what we can do in order to play the song, okay? So as you can see here, we have a bunch of nice functions that we'll be using. This one is a really handy function. Play or pause depending on the state of the song. When it's called, it will either pause the song if it's already playing, or it'll play the song if it's paused or stopped. Okay, so that's what we will be doing. Over here. So that price. I think it should be sufficient. Meanwhile, let's try to see what other listeners that we can add here. Right. Okay, so what this does is that it listens to what audio is playing, and then based on that, it returns some of its metadata, like the full duration of the song and all of that nice stuff. Huh. Okay, since we did load up the song, let's see what happens when we try to play it. Okay. It is playing. I hope you guys can hear that. And as you can see, while the song is playing, it's the icon that's showing here is the paused icon. We have clicked on it again, and it's showing the play icon. We click on it again, the song resumes, and it shows the pause icon. Okay, so that's the basic thing. I wish I could really show you guys the full working of this screen, like how you can essentially interact with this slider, how you can update it in real time as the song is playing. But since we're running short on time, I won't be able to do that. But since I did code this last night, I do have the application, and I can show you guys how I achieved that before. Okay, just gonna do that. Then we're gonna quickly head off to the Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I will be answering it. Okay, so this was the application. It looks a little bigger because obviously the radius is bigger. So guys, cut me some slack. As you can see, when I click on this play button, the song starts playing. This starts updating the starting time, like how much time has elapsed, how much time is remaining. And as you can see, the seeker is also moving. I can seek it, and it just updates it right there and then. Okay, now just a quick overview of how I did this. This Assets audio player, it provides a bunch of listeners. I was using this current listener, like audioplayer.current. I was using audioplayer.current position. What current does is that it fetches the current audio that's playing, and it fetches its metadata, like the complete duration of it and all of that stuff. So that's how I got the complete duration from. And I just converted that duration object into a string object to show this little thing over here. The other thing that I was using for this part and for this part, I was using current position. So I wrapped this specific widget, this text widget, inside a stream builder, because it's constantly listening to that listener, and it's constantly updating its values as the new values are updated. Okay, that's all that I did here. I just wrapped this text widget inside a stream builder, and inside the stream, I called assets audio player dot current position, and I just used the value that I was getting there. And for this thing, what I did was, you see this function on value changed. Where'd it go? Right here on changed. It takes a double val. So obviously, when you're seeking it, it detects how much value you have changed it by, or what the value currently is. And then here, all I did was that I called the audio player dot seek to. So this song can seek to that particular timestamp to which we have changed. Okay, so this was the overall essence of the session. The main point of this was that you can code the most complex of UIs very easily and conveniently in Flutter. The reason it took a little bit long over here was that obviously, I was on mute initially, so there goes my confidence, and there comes the embarrassment. So yeah, things happen, but the essence of this was that I coded this entire screen last night in about 1 hour, and it took me 1 hour because I was experimenting with this thing, and it just took me a really long time to get this thing working. Okay, so the good news is that we have coded this layout. It was pretty complex, but you can see that without using any external dependency, at least for just displaying the widgets, we have made this really beautiful looking music application layout with Flutter, with the Dart code, without using any external dependency in a bunch of like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So yeah, there's that. Okay, that's it from my side. I will be flashing my contact details now. So if you want to contact me at a later point in time, you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me. This is my official email address, sakina.abbas@reactree.com. This is my LinkedIn URL. This is a QR code for my LinkedIn profile. So if you have a QR scanner in your phone, feel free to scan it. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And there's that. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.